Second time's the charm, I suppose. Hello, my name is Alex Does F1 Stuff, and welcome to A Team Through Time. This is technically episode number 3, but I don't really want to episode them, as they don't really follow on from each other. It's just the same sort of idea, just focusing on a slightly different team. Today, we are covering Mercedes. This one should hopefully be a wee bit shorter than the rest. So the idea of this series is to take a current team from the 2020 grid, i.e. Mercedes, and take it all the way back to where it began. In Mercedes' case, 2010 all the way up to 2019, as we haven't had the 2020 season completed just yet. Unfortunately for Mercedes, I won't be going over their 1950 run, as I didn't do it. So 2010 to 2019, that's all we've got. So I have done 2 other episodes of this. I've currently done Haas and Racing Point / Force India as well. I will be aiming to do the rest of the grid, just slowly and in between all the other bits that I'm doing. But like I said in the intro, second time is the charm. This is the second time of recording this episode, as the first one was shit. It was just didn't flow, didn't work, didn't like it, scrapped it, recording it again. Easy peasy. So we begin the story in 2010 and a car alarm is going off. Why? Oh god, please stop. Please. I can just see it on OBS just going oh there we go. Oh thank god it stopped. Oh, I could just see it on OBS just going wee, wee, wee. Anyway, 2010. Mercedes bought the Brawn team, the championship winning Brawn team, and we got the W01. A fairly nice looking car. A nice decent livery, a slightly dull grey, but honestly not that bad. And they actually coaxed Michael Schumacher out of retirement. He retired in 2006 from Ferrari and came back just 4 years later to join Mercedes and partnering Nico Rosberg. And their best result, they ended up with a 3rd place in Malaysia, courtesy of Nico Rosberg. A 3rd place on your debut, not that bad at all. Not debut season I meant. So they ended the year in 4th place on 214 points. However, I think they'll be a bit annoyed at that, as you bought a championship winning car, Brawn, the previous year's Constructors' Champion, and you're now 4th the next year. Not ideal in the slightest, but if we break down the drivers' finishing positions, you can see it was a fairly solid opening year. Only 4 DNFs, 2 for each driver, 3 podiums for Rosberg, and only a smattering 6 non-points finishes excluding the DNFs. So honestly, not a bad debut season for the Silver Arrow. But we move to 2011. Hopefully they can build on it. And we got birth? What was I going to say? We got birth? Oh god. Anyway, 2011 gave birth, I suppose. Oh, that still doesn't... No. Okay, we'll scrap that. Right, can't remember where I left off. I don't know how well this is going to cut together. But 2011, I made a massive hash brown of that completely. 2011, we moved to the W02. A bit more silver in this. They had a little issue with the paintwork. I couldn't find exactly what the issue was, but there was some sort of dispute between the 2010 paint job and the 2011 paint job, like the type of silver that they used, because you can see it's a lot more shiny in this one, whereas 2010 was a little bit on the dull side. But they had a best result of 4th place in Canada, which, yeah, damn, to go from podiums, 3 podiums in your first season to no podiums in your second, oh, that's gonna hurt just a little bit. But still, 4th place in the Constructors, but on 165 points. Less points than you had in your debut season, but still 4th place. So honestly, not that bad. Another look at the drivers' standings, I suppose how they stack up against each other. A lot more DNFs for both drivers, considerably more. Again, 6 non-finishes or non-points finishes, but they had a lot more DNFs this year, which is a bit of a shame. That really did kind of halt their progress throughout the year, and they may have been able to challenge for 3rd place. Maybe. But we moved to 2012 and the W03. Honestly, one of the ugliest cars ever. Probably worse than the little penis noses of 2014. It's the stupid step nose. it just didn't look nice in the slightest. However, small bit of controversy with this car, they took a channel from the front wing, I'll try and zoom in on a section of where it could have been, and then they chucked it all the way through the car, all the way out to the rear wing, and you can see just under that A-bar bit, you can see a little like bump in it. There's a little channel that took air from the front wing all the way and spat out underneath the rear wing, and it basically boosted your downforce, essentially, if that makes sense. It was just added, it was dubbed the double DRS. It was deemed legal, and it actually worked for them. They got a first place in China courtesy of Nico Rosberg, his first victory in Formula 1, and they finished 5th in the Constructors on 142 points. Going downhill, unfortunately. 5th place, a place lower, and even less points than the year before. And if we just have a look at the little breakdown of the finishing positions, and you can clearly see where it collapsed. From Japan onwards, in the last 6 rounds they only scored once, and that was from Schumacher in Brazil. A really, really, really disappointing end to the 2012 season. But to 2013 now, and the final retirement of Michael Schumacher brings in the likes of Lewis Hamilton, and the W04 honestly looks quite cool. It basically is the 2012 car, just with a nice little vanity panel over the step so you can't really see it. However, this car had inherent and awful tyre management. It was crap on its tyres, it would just destroy them. However, they ended up winning. They won 3 races this year. Monaco, Britain, which I just wasn't aware of at all, that hectic British race with 6 punctures or something like that. And then also Hungary, Lewis Hamilton's first victory for Mercedes. And it showed. This car was a massive step up from its 3 predecessors. They were 2nd in the Constructors' Championship on 360 points behind Red Bull, in probably Red Bull's most dominant year in Formula 1, the year in which Vettel took 9 consecutive wins. Bonkers year for Red Bull, and to finish 2nd to that, really not that bad at all. And just a breakdown of the points comparisons, you can really see it was their best year so far. Just 3 DNFs, 2 for Rosberg, 1 for Hamilton, and only 2 non-points finishes. Really, 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 really strong year. My only criticism is they both wore the same pissing colour helmets. In a silver car they were both yellow. Stupid. You had to look for the T-cam on the car. One was black for Rosberg, one was yellow for Hamilton. The most infuriating thing, you're so used to looking for the helmets, and they were the same. They were the same. Anyway, doesn't matter. We move from 2013 to 2014. The hybrid era, and where their dominance began. It was a stellar year for Mercedes fans. Maybe not so much for everybody else. So 2014 is of course the W05, and it looked okay, I suppose. Slightly short, like wheelbase wise, and a nice front end. One of the nicest front ends of the 2014 era. It wasn't like the McLaren, it wasn't the double tusk of the Lotus, it wasn't the penis nose of the Caterham. It was just nice. It wasn't pretty, it was just nice. Now, best result of first place, obviously, and then also first place in the Constructors. A whopping 701 points in the Constructors' Championship. Absolutely ridiculous. And a breakdown of their points, madness. Absolute madness. 16 out of 19 Grand Prix victories, just 5 retirements, 1 non-points finish technically in Abu Dhabi, and then only 1 race, or 2 races, where they didn't even finish on the podium. What is that? How is that even possible? And that was for both cars. Both cars didn't finish on the podium, whereas every single round of this year, 1 Mercedes was on the podium. That is an incredible statistic. Absolutely just ridiculous, bonkers statistic. And then we head from their first championship winning car to their second championship winning car, 2015, the W06. It was more of like a continuation rather than an evolution. I got that saying wrong again. I got it wrong in the take that's not even going to be made. So this car was more of an evolution rather than a revolution of the 2014 car. Looked a lot nicer in my opinion. Again, best result of first, and also first place in the Constructors. 703 points this time actually, just 2 more points extra. And again, 16 out of 19 victories in the entire season. It was much the same. Hungary was actually an iffy track, and so was Singapore. That was Mercedes' 2 bogey tracks. But of course there were some driver collisions, driver incidents. 2015 there was USA in the championship decider. They bumped wheels at the start. I think, was it Canada of this year or was it Canada of 2016 that they got? I'm not 100% sure on that. Oh, I also missed 2014. Wow, it's fine. But another solid year from the Silver Arrows. 2 Constructors' Championships in a row, 2 Drivers' Championships in a row for Lewis Hamilton as well. And we head to 2016, arguably the most dominant car ever. Period. Full stop. End of argument. And of course, the car in question we are talking about is the W07. This, I think, is Mercedes' nicest looking car, personally. Don't shoot me, but personally. Ah, for God's sake, that car alarm. Oh, it stopped. That was quick. I just loved that S-duct that it had, the little channel in the top, and all of that car looked really nice. But again, first place in Austria was their best, or Australia was their best result, and also Austria as well. And then again, first place in the Constructors, 765 points. That is helped by the fact that there were 2 more races in the year, 21 races rather than 19, but still 765 points, just pure dominance, absolute dominance. But as we look towards the drivers' finishing positions, they won 19 out of 21 races. 19 out of 21, that's just bonkers. And the only 2 that they didn't win, 1 car failed to finish, and that was of course Spain in 2016, where they both crashed into each other and just took each other both out of contention, and Malaysia 2016 as well, where Rosberg was spun round at the start and had to fight his way back from last, having to pit as he ruined his tyres, and then also Hamilton's engine blew up when he was comfortably in the lead, and then the Red Bulls had to fight it out. So personally, this car could have won every single race. But we move to 2017 now, the big aero regulation change, the year in which we thought Mercedes' dominance would end. They've dominated the past 3 years of the hybrid era. Will this regulation change finally shake things up? No, it didn't. The W08, again, a really nice looking car, a solid looking car. Nice wide tyres, nice long wheelbase. Just everything was just nice about this car. I liked the blue stripes going through with the Petronas logo and everything. But they had a best result of first in China as well. They had to wait for their first victory, as Ferrari actually won the first round. But again, a best result of first in the Constructors, 668 points. And what is going on with my animations? Well, it looks like the drivers' comparison wanted to pop up. Only 1 DNF, and that was Bottas in Spain. Bottas actually achieved his first victory this year in Russia, then again in Austria, and finally Abu Dhabi as well. A very strong year for Bottas, having moved up from Williams. But you can see it was not as dominant as 2016 or 2014 or 2015, but they still won the Constructors for the 4th time in a row. But what could 2018 bring, the Halo era as people are starting to call it? Could it bring change? Again, no. W09, another nice looking car. Same sort of continuation with the sort of stripes going down the chassis, same sort of look as the 2017 car, but a best result of first place in Azerbaijan, courtesy of Bottas's unfortunate puncture, which enabled Hamilton to win the race. Although he really felt for Bottas though. It wasn't one of Hamilton's like amazing, he's really joyous on the podium. He felt bad for Bottas. It was Bottas's race to win. But again, first place in the Constructors' Championship, 655 points. again, not as dominant, but where Ferrari seemed strong, they just faltered, and mistakes from Vettel crept in, and they just couldn't compete with the might of Mercedes. But taking a look at the drivers' finishing breakdown, they actually had a strange double DNF in Austria, both cars retiring for completely different reasons. It's not like in 2014 in Canada where they had brake issues, both cars. This was two completely separate issues. No idea, no one really knew. But equally, Bottas had a crap year in 2018. Just a couple podiums, a few second places, and then 5ths and 14ths and stuff. It just wasn't a strong year for Bottas at all. No victories, and he was a wingman. He was Hamilton's wingman for this year. And finally, 2019, arguably another very, very dominant year, harking back to 2014, 2015 and 2016 as well. But this was actually the year that Ferrari posed the biggest challenge. In pre-season testing, Ferrari were immensely strong, and we saw the W10, again very similar to the W09, although I much liked this colour. The halo was actually coloured in silver, the nice little Mercedes stars on the back. Personally, this was a nicer liveried car than all the others. But once again, best result of first place in Australia, courtesy of Bottas 2.0. Dominating that weekend, 30 seconds in front of Hamilton, something like that. Yes, Hamilton had his issues, his flaw issues in a millimetre critical aero part of the car, but still, Bottas dominated that weekend. And of course, they ended up winning the Constructors' Championship in style. 739 points, again a extremely dominant year, unlike 2018 and 2017 where it was actually a bit iffy. And of course, the positions breakdown, they went on a win streak of 8 in the first half of the season, 5 1-2 finishes in a row from Australia to Spain, and then a further 3 victories. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy performances from Mercedes. Just when you thought that Ferrari could pose a proper challenge, they didn't, and it fell apart for them. They won 3 races in a row from Belgium, Italy and Singapore, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to compete with Mercedes. So what can 2020 bring? Well, so far it is 3 from 3 for Mercedes, again looking mightily, mightily strong. But one last thing before we end the video, it is the Mercedes Team Championship. This is something that I've done for Force India and also Haas. It is Lewis Hamilton that is dominating the way, 2,518 points to Rosberg's 1,519. I might just compare the winner of each team against each other, possibly, but I'll have to wait and see and wait for everybody else to come through, kind of thing, and we'll just see. We'll see what happens. But that is all I've got for you today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed that Team Through Time video, and I will catch you in the next video with whatever and whenever I decide to make it. I'll see you guys then.